Welcome back, everybody, and today we have a Lariat F150. Let's see what year it is. It is pretty much an well, not but 2010. And what we're going to be doing to it is we're actually going to be rewiring up the radio in this. Let me show it to you. So he has this Heigh10 Stinger display and everything right here, and it's been drawing his battery dead. If he leaves it on for a few days or connected, it will actually kill the battery. And what we're going to do is we're going to rewire it, because once you take this out, you'll see the mess that we have behind here. It is a jumbled mess, I will say. All they did was just twist a lot of the wires together. They didn't crimp anything the way they should or solder anything. They didn't use the right connectors or any of that, and it's all just kind of twisted. Some of it's even doubled over with tape and stuff like that. So we're going to do this the right way. I'm going to get me some wiring connectors for speakers and radio equipment and all that accessory stuff. And plus, another thing that we found out was his interface was the wrong one. But I talked to the company and they recommended that we get this one right here. They said that the one we had, he walked me through it, and I checked the old interface and it was sending voltage when it shouldn't be. But this is what they recommended right here. This is the RP4 FD11. And as you can see, it's for Ford, Lincoln, Mercury automobiles. And this is the interface with the CAN bus on it. And it has the program button on it right there. All the connectors. Then we got the whole entire wiring harness right here. And then this is the junction wiring harness. I think it goes from the actual interface touch module right there to the wiring harness. But you can see I've had this one for a little bit, and I got this one in not long ago. I told him, and he wasn't able to bring the truck over at the time, but we will get this done. We'll get it installed. Here's all the instructions. We will be doing some bench wiring on this, just so we can wire these two together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to remove the touch screen right here. I'm not going to disconnect the battery, because I do need the battery power to see where power wires and everything are coming. So I want to set y'all down right here and kind of show y'all how this screen comes off. So the way you got to do it is you have to push up and tilt back, and then it comes off. And you're going to have some wiring connectors inside. Should just be two. I don't know. I can get my hand down in here. There's one. Come on out of there. And that one won't come out. There it goes. And this right here is a tiny connector. I was just having a hard time pushing it down. But you're going to have these two right there. And then your touch screen comes off. We're going to set that in the back. We're going to take his change out, set it where we can get to it, just because it does have to take all, we do have to take all this off right up here. We'll go ahead and pull that out. Here's some fuses, and then he has a wiring connector in here. But what we're going to do is we actually are going to take all this off right here, and we're going to have two 8mm bolts up here. I believe it's either 8s or 7s. So let me see which one it is. Probably 7s. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and remove those. and you can see that it's a little loose now. Next thing we're going to have to do is we'll have to remove these trim pieces right here. But in order to do that, I'm going to remove the bezel around his instrument panel, because it does interlock behind there, and there should be some more 7mm up in there. So I'm going to remove those real quick. We got this out now. Like I said, it was just 2 7mm up here, and then you can just use a trim tool like this and it pops right out. And the main reason that we did that is because this lip right here sits underneath there, and if we went to try to pull this out right there, it would have actually pulled on it, and there's a possibility of it breaking. And you don't have to remove this completely, but you just saw how I just got my fingers behind it and pried out on it. And this one right here is a little different, because we're going to actually have to take the airbag out on this side, and I will show you how to do that. It is, I think, 2 connectors on that one, and then you can get behind there. You're gonna have to drop the glove box down, and I think I have to go in through the little side panel also on the passenger side. But let me go ahead and start dropping the glove box down, and then it's just 2 little tabs you just push in, and it should fold down like that, and you should be able to get up underneath here and get to the airbag stuff. Like I said, I'm going to take this little side panel off right here. It has a little hole you can stick your finger in, and it should pull right out. And this just lets me get in a little bit easier. You can see my hand down in here. This lets me get in here a little bit easier, and I can actually see a little bit more. I got one wire disconnected. I think there's one more on this side. Yep. And before you do anything, after you disconnect them, sit here for about 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes, and let all this power dissipate, because this can hold power in it and it can explode if you try to jostle it around too much. So we're going to let it sit here for a few, and then we'll come back and take this out. Now that we have the airbag that's been sitting here for about 15 minutes, we're going to go ahead and start removing the 3 bolts that hold it in, and they are 8mm, and it's kind of hard to show you where they're at. So I'm going to take one of them out, and once I get them all out, what I'll do is show you what they look like and show you where they're at once the airbag is actually out of the truck. But they're not all that tight. I'm using a 1/4-inch ratchet. This is what they look like right there. Be careful when you're removing this. Now you have a better view of what it looks like inside of the dash. And right here, there's a clip that goes around here, and make sure that it goes in straight. That there's a bolt there, right there, and right there. This is the back of the airbag. See what I'm talking about? These clips, they go around that little bracket piece and make sure that it goes in right. And there's your 3 areas that they bolt in. And then you may have to put this trim, put a trim tool, not necessarily this one, but put a trim tool behind it and just kind of pull on it a little bit to get it to unseat. And now you can see the reason that I took that out was because there is a bolt right here, and it is a 7mm as well. Just remember that the copper ones are to that trim piece. Pull on it if I can. Right. There we go. And now you can see we can actually start removing the face of this. Let me get back in on the driver's side so I can actually get over there. Alright, so we just got our connectors in. O'Reilly sent them over. They're not a sponsor or anything, but that's just where I go to get most of my parts and have them delivered to me, either O'Reilly's or Napa. But this is what I got right here. These are the closed in connectors that we're going to be using. Like I said, we're going to be trying to pull this the rest of the way out. It can stick a little bit. And there's a lot of connectors behind here. If we can get them to pull out. One connector on the top, and you should have 2 connectors in the middle. And we got all that. This right here is wired in down through there, so we're just going to kind of move this to the side. Here are where all your connectors are going to be. You'll have 1 at the top right there, 2 on the bottom or in the middle. They are color coded, brown to the brown, gray to the gray. Then you have these 2 connectors right here. I think one's to your sink, one is to your USB, and then you're going to have this one as well, and it runs all the way into there. So we're just going to leave that as it is. And as I said, this is a jumbled mess up in here, so it's going to be fun figuring out everything on this. And like I said, let me get these wires out of the way. Man, it is a total mess up in here. We're going to go ahead, we're going to pull the whole unit out and everything and do a complete rewire on all of this. And to get this out right here, pretty much there's, I think, 4 7mm that hold it in. Well, 3 on this one, because that one right there is actually broke. So I'm going to go ahead and get those out and pull out the actual mounting assembly. So here is our jumbled mess right here. And as you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pretty much about 11 connectors. We're going to just pull them all off. See if I can get them one-handed. I'm kind of, that one's going to be stubborn just because of how little it is. There it goes. These are just USB connectors right there. I know the camera's shaking all over the place. should be everything. And there we go. There's the main unit. Now what I'm going to try to do is figure out what is what on here. Like I said, look at all this. All they did was just connected them and twisted them and put tape around them. We're not going to do that. We're going to actually use these closed-in connectors like I showed you earlier. Alright, well, let me figure out this wiring harness, see what is what on it, and make sure everything matches with the one that I have, and we'll get back to it. Alright, so we got pretty much all of them connected. The only one that we didn't use was this pink wire, and some of the wires aren't labeled, so we had to pull out the wire diagram. It was the interface connectors. The only ones that weren't labeled were the light green, pink, blue and white, the red, orange and white, and purple and white. And right there's where they are, right there. I don't know if you can see that too good, but the only one we didn't use was this pink wire, and that is a vehicle speed output. Everything else we did use. I went ahead and put blade connectors on this one right here, and then I put a blade connector on this blue one that goes to the power antenna, just so we could connect it, and it already had a female end on there. But we did take off the power control like bullet connector, and we put two blade connectors, female and males, on there, and now it's all hooked together, and we can go inside and start hooking it up to the existing harness that is in there now, and we'll see what we need to do to get everything right. Okay, as you can see, we got it all kind of hooked up real quick just to make sure that it is going to work. And the only thing that I saw that I could not find was this right here. This goes to the steering wheel controls. I can't remember if that was actually hooked up. I'll have to look back through my video just to see, but we're just going to turn it to the on position right now just to make sure that everything is working. So it's powering up, that's a good thing. Yeah, you can hear the music. Yep, everything seems to be working on it right there. So I think we got the main parts of it hooked up. Let me go back through my video just to see if this had a hookup or not, and if it did, I'll hook it back up, because right now the steering wheel controls are not working as far as the radio goes. So let me see if they are hooked up previously or not, and then I'll get back to you. So I figured out what was going on with the controls. What happened was this right here, for the Stinger Heigh10, you need to put it on setting 4. I don't know how well you can see in there, but it's numbered 0 through 9, and you got to move the little arrow to setting 4 for a Stinger radio. I had to contact technical support and ask them about it, and I just want to give credit to technical support at crutchfield.com and Stinger, because Stinger sent out the new wiring harness for the actual head unit and the radio for free, but Crutchfield, their support system, helped me just now without any issues or anything, and they told me what was going on. All I had to do was supply what radio I was using and what vehicle I was putting it in, and he talked to me for probably 10 minutes, and then we got it figured out like that quick. He said normally you would set it to number 7, he said, but the Stingers, they will work on the number 4 setting, which I think he said was the Clarion setting as well. He said they'll work most of the time with those rather than the other setting. So that right there, I just wanted to give a shout out to them, that they have one of the best customer services that I've dealt with. Like I said, both of them are great. But now that we have everything working, I just want to show you that the steering wheel volume control is working. We do have the radio coming on now. Okay, you can see the volume control works right here. You can see it works right there. And all the buttons on the steering wheel actually work now too. But now what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and start putting all this stuff back in here a lot neater than it was before, and trying to zip tie some of this and get it out into the back without any issues. So let me get all this straightened up, and then I'll bring y'all back whenever we get ready to install everything. So you got to hook the bottom first, push up, and then it should attach. And screen is on. Stick this back on. And that is pretty much it. We got everything else put back together. Just don't forget that the copper screw goes into this portion over here, and that should be everything. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if y'all got any comments, questions, concerns, please hit me up in the comment section or email me, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. But I'll list all the parts that I use with part numbers and everything on here, including these right here. And till next time, y'all have a great day.